Building Solid Foundations. I'm your host, Steve Matley. Today we are in the studio with Dr. Peggy Woods. We are on 1050 AM KCAA, and if you miss us on KCAA on the live broadcast, make sure you catch us on Roku channel, on Amazon Fire TV, or on the Amazon app, the Building Solid Foundations channel, which is a free download for you. A lot of great shows on there besides this show. Dr. Peggy Woods, our guest today, is an author, ghostwriter, motivational speaker, certified life coach, holds a master's of theology and a doctorate in ministry. And she is the CEO of Right Now Publishing. That's WRITE, Right Now Publishing. I always enjoy a good play on words. That works very well for me. And she's an author of several books, including the Top 10 Tips for Power Thinking series, a 3-part series, The Image of a Woman from Hebrews Perspective, based on Proverbs 31, and 5 Easy Steps to Self-Publishing. She's featured in magazines, spoken as a keynote speaker, on panels, on radio broadcasts, and television networks, like the Cross Christian TV network. In addition, she holds speaking community service awards from public officials. If you want to connect with her, we're going to talk about what she does, but if you want to connect with her, and if you hear something you like about this on the show, you go to Peggy at publish-rightnow.com. That's Peggy at publish-rightnow, WRITENOW, publish-rightnow.com if you want to connect with her. We're going to talk about some of what she provides, but let's get into some of the topics we want to discuss today. So first of all, we just mentioned Right Now Publishing, so let's talk about it. What is Right Now Publishing Company, and what do you specialize in?
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you so much, Steve, for having me on today. And yes, Right Now Publishing Company is a professional writing firm. We specialize in helping you tell your story. So everybody has a story to tell, right? And we help you take your story from out of your head and your heart and to publish it into books.
Okay, and for a lot of people, that's more difficult than it sounds, because a lot of us, we think, well, that can't be that difficult to write a book, until we actually try to take what we're thinking and put it onto paper and make it sound articulate and intelligent. And that's a real trick. So you do that through ghostwriting, is that correct?
Yes, that's one of the avenues. Basically, we meet you wherever you are. So if you would like us to write the book for you, we interview you, and then we write the book, all the content. However, maybe you want to write it and you still need help. We will coach you through that process.
So you provide editing services as well?
That's the other thing we do, yes, absolutely. If you've already written the book, then we provide editing services for you.
Okay, so for those of you out there that have been to the seminars or in the groups, and you've heard you need to write your little book, and you figure, I can do this, so you're writing your own book and you're pretty decent at writing, take my advice and hire someone like Peggy to do the editing. It is impossible to proofread and edit your own book for several reasons. One, the way you think and the way you speak is the way you think and the way you speak, and there may be a better way to say it that you just don't know because that's the way you think and speak. Okay, all of us can use a little help with that when it comes to professional writing. Number two, errors in your book you will not see yourself, because your brain, as you read it, already knows what you're supposed to say, and it finishes that sentence without you really paying attention to the actual characters on the page and the punctuation, and you will miss things. When you catch it will be after you have ordered 5,000 copies of it and they're in your garage in boxes and you're handing them out, and one day you flip through something and you notice that you misspelled something, you forgot a period somewhere, so there's something wrong with it, and it's out there and it's impossible to take back now. So don't find your mistakes that way. Get a professional editor to help you.
Yes. And I don't just say that just because I'm an editor and writer, but I would not dare edit my own material. I do it to a certain degree, but I'm going to hand it off to another party to look at it, because, like you said, the way you speak is the way you write, and when you edit, you're still thinking that way.
Right.
Not only that, for clarity, you want clarity. Perhaps you wrote something and it's not clear to anyone but you.
Yeah, so you know what you were supposed to say.
Exactly. So, but someone else might not know exactly what you were going to say.
Right.
And you want that clarity in your book.
And you also want to look at things that are the unintentional. How would you say? You unintentionally say things that are foot in the mouth kind of stuff, because you know what you meant, but you realize you know what? That could have been taken two different ways. And I didn't think of it that way, but see, maybe 9 out of 10 of your readers do. And now you got a reputation problem to deal with. And so, yeah, get someone else to edit your book, even if you want to do it all by yourself. Now, I know a lot of other people out there where their problem with writing a book is, I don't know where to start. I can stare at a blank piece of paper for a long time. And that's where she's talking about. She provides services where they'll just sit down and talk with you and help you through that process.
Yes. That's one of the most important things about writing. People say, well, I don't know where to start, and they get advice, just write. Absolutely not. Please don't just write, because we may not talk on one frame, right? For example, I may talk about 5 different things in one conversation, but if you write it like that, it's not organized.
That's right.
So you want organized writing, and my advice is to write one story at a time. So for example, if you want to write about your life, right? What part of your life do you want to write about? Take the most exciting story that you know about your life and just write that one story. And you can put a bunch of stories together on separate pieces of paper and organize them in different ways. Again, my advice is to write one story at a time if you're telling stories or writing a nonfiction book.
Now, there's also a lot of people, when you tell them that, they'll say, but I don't have any exciting stories. Nothing ever exciting ever happened to me. And yet, if you were to sit down and talk with somebody and you just, talk with them, where'd you come from? What did you do? Where'd you go to school? What were your parents like? All this kind of stuff. You'll find there's some fascinating things that they don't think are fascinating because, see, your life is just your life, right?
Exactly.
There's nothing exciting. But for someone else, you might say, that is fascinating. Someone would love to hear that story. So sometimes by having someone you talk to help flesh things out, something you think may be fairly inconsequential might be something that becomes the basis for a very good story that can become your signature story.
Yes, that happened to me the other day. There was a lady she grew up in Russia, right? And she said, the government did not allow them to have religion. Mm-hmm. They didn't have freedom of religion. So when she came to America, it was so very different for her. She didn't really even know what religion was, so to speak, or experience that. And that was her story. That's part of her story. She said, I don't see how that's part of my story. Well, that influences you,
yes, it does.
So in a very, very good, it might not be a whole chapter, but it's definitely an insert.
Yep.
The other thing too, Steve, with people who want to tell a nonfiction story, a true story about their lives, and it's a healing process, right? Most of us, we won't go deep into it. We'll say, well, my father was mean, and go on to the next sentence, and it's like, well, what do you mean your father was mean?
Well, it's uncomfortable to talk about.
Yes, and it's uncomfortable to write.
That's right.
So you need someone to flesh out those deep things, because those are the things that are going to help somebody else.
That's right.
It's not going to help them to say my father was mean. It's going to help them to know what you mean. How did you feel? So that person who's reading it may have the same experience, but they don't have anybody to relate to. But they can relate to you through your story. Right. And so it's very, very, I think that is the most common thing that I do. I help you to go deep into your story, to heal not only yourself, but to help the reader as well.
Right. Okay, great. Okay, so now you started your company to help people with that. Now, is it an internet-based company? Do you sit down? Do you do one-on-one, face-to-face? How do you do this process?
Yes, either way, because this is a global world now, I can go on Zoom and see you. You can see me. We can interact, and it's a very good way of meeting people, and you don't have to be local.
Okay.
So I do meet.
And then once we get this on paper, you can help with the actual publishing process.
Right. Yes. Yes, I self-published my book, so I help you in the area of self-publishing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Is Amazon the only way to self-publish?
Well, self-publishing just means that you're the writer, you do the marketing, because marketing and publishing and writing is three different
That's
things.
right.
So I help you put your book into a book print form. I help you do that by, the formatting, and it's technical stuff with
Right.
publishing. The formatting, the book cover, the font type, and then once it's an actual book, then you can put it on Amazon to sell it. And you can also become an Amazon bestseller by having so many people to read your book in a short period of time.
Right. Right.
So, and then there's other things like going on radio, going on TV. And you could do that all on your own, set that up, or you
Interesting
can have
enough,
someone.
even if you go with one of the big publishing houses, if you had an agent and you got through Penguin or someone like that or Random House, you still kind of have to market it yourself. That's why all these celebrities all go on the talk shows. That's why they do the book signings and the readings and those kind of things. Because even though this company published it for you, there's a limited amount of marketing support, and you kind of got to do a lot of your own marketing anyways.
Exactly. And it's very easy. It's very easy to do your marketing.
Yeah.
You just call someone and you say, "Hey, I wrote a book. This is what it's about. Would you be interested in having me on your podcast or your television station or your radio?" And you keep going. And the thing about it is you can do that for life.
Yep.
10 Tips for Power Thinking, I wrote 2014. I'm still talking about it, still selling it.
Okay, we have to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Peggy Woods with Right Now Publishing and talking all things about figuring out how to write, what to write, and then what to do with it once you've written it. This is Building Solid Foundations. I'm your host, Steve Matley. We'll be right back after this.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations radio talk show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental property, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about. So join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio.
Hi, this is Jim McLaughlin with Effective Action Consulting, and I've been a member of Fire Up Connect for, probably 3 years now. And what I really like about Fire Up Connect is the unique model that we go through, that we follow, the agenda, so to speak, in the meeting that really has us get engaged and involved with each other in the meetings. It's not that we're individuals, it's that we're all really working together to better ourselves, our businesses, and the community through the projects that we work on. So I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to network with people in this environment, and it's really impacted my business in a big way. So take a look.
Are you a real estate investor looking for a new opportunity in one of the top tourist destinations in the world? Look no further. Welcome to Punta Cana. Perla Bahia is a private resort-style community in Punta Cana that consists of modern condos, custom villas, and various commercial amenities. So if you're interested in learning more or joining us on one of our monthly investment tours, don't hesitate to contact me today at 909-494-2280.
Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations. I'm your host, Steve Matley. Today we're talking to Dr. Peggy Woods. She is with Right Now Publishing. They help you publish your book. And if you don't have a book to publish, they help you figure out how to write a book using what you know, getting it on paper and making it sound coherent, intellectual, make it so it doesn't embarrass you, basically. That's always an important thing to do. There is a couple of books that she wrote. One is called 10 Tips for Power Thinking, Maximize Your Health and Happiness for an Empowered Life. And this book was published several years back, as she mentioned right before the break, but she's still speaking and talking about it because this is something that embodies, I guess, the basis of how you kind of build your process, your system for what you do. Is that right? How you build your life?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Okay. And when you say you market this book through speaking, so you go on other people's podcasts, you go on radio shows, you do speaking events,
Yes,
conferences, that type of stuff?
Yes, I go on radio shows and also television. I have a Connect group. So I took my book and I broke it into a workbook. So I have a book and workbook.
Okay.
And I pulled out quotes out of my book, well, basically short sentences that I spoke, right? Mm-hmm. I pulled those out and made them affirmation book.
Okay.
And then a journal. Because the goal is not for you to just learn how to change your perspective, to just read a book and now here I'm done, but it's to actually make a change. And 10 Tips helps you to change your perspective so that you are thinking more positively as opposed to negatively. And when you think positive, you feel better, right?
Okay.
You feel happier, as opposed to when you're negative, you become more depressed. And so you can not only speak on radio, TV, podcast, but also take your book and you can break it into other learning material. You can build a course on it. You can speak on different sections of the book, maybe one chapter of the book. You can make blog from your book, newsletter. I mean, it's just endless, the things that you can do once you publish your book, aside from giving you instant credibility as a published author. You have passive income for life with your book.
Right, right. And when you say passive income, here's the interesting thing. Selling the book itself probably isn't where the income is. There's not a lot of money in the book. But as you mentioned, the book as the basis, it's sort of the box that holds everything in it. And then as you unpack everything in the box, there's a speech, there's a keynote, there's a seminar, there's a workshop, there's a, whatever, right? You mentioned you do the workbook out of the book, and you do a book of affirmations out of the book. And there's all these different things come out of it, and you create, now it's not just a book, it's a program, an entire program. It's a curriculum. That's really what it is.
Yes.
And each one of those takes a little more work, but you can build on that. And I'm a big fan of that concept of do the work once and then find ways to keep reusing the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Yes.
So you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. You just make wheels of different size and shapes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you said that, because when you make an investment to become an author, some people think I'm going to get my money from selling books. Well, you might make $6 a book.
The most you could sell a book for. So you can go to Barnes & Noble and buy a large 20-inch by 16-inch coffee table book with high color resolution pictures, and it's like $25.
Exactly.
Right? So $40 for the super deluxe with the gold leafing on it. You're not going to make, for what it costs to put it together. And in a small book, there's actually more margin in the smaller book, the little paperback that costs $2 to $3 to print, and you can sell it for $10.99. There's a bigger margin in it, but really, how many of those do you have to sell to become a millionaire? That's a lot of books.
A whole lot of books. Yeah. And you pay extra for color. The printing is expensive.
Yes.
If you like quality, like I'm a writer, right? So I like nice paper.
Right.
I like nice cover. I'm not going to have, I don't believe in writing a book just to write it. Like some people say, oh, here's a tip on how to write your book in 10 days. Well, is it a good book? Is it interesting? Is it quality?
Is anybody going to read it?
Yeah, I mean, people might buy it because you have good marketing, but they going to remember you for a good book? Or are they going to remember you for, don't buy that person's book?
So, well, there's two philosophies on this. So one philosophy says, just write anything and get it out there and publish it, and that's that instant credibility thing you mentioned. Okay, so there's that piece of it. Well, essentially, that is now all it is an expensive business card, which is not bad. I mean, if you take that to a networking event and you hand them a book, and it costs you $2 to print the thing, all your contact information's on there. There's probably more chance that they won't throw that away versus all the other business cards they collected. That's true. But if they sat down and read the book and found out it had grammatical errors, it was poorly worded, a lot of cliches, all that kind of stuff, they might actually think less of you. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it can actually harm you if it's garbage. Now, a good solid book with one or two errors probably isn't going to be an issue, but you don't want errors in there if you can avoid it. On the other hand, if you can do it, if you're going to do all the effort, and it takes 80% of the effort to put out a mediocre thing, but for a little more effort, you can put out a good quality book that enhances your reputation. That people actually look at it and go, you know what? I've seen a lot of these little books around, but this one's actually not bad. This is pretty good stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Just like your show, Steve, you want to build a solid foundation.
That's right.
And even if you hire someone who's an expertise, they can get it out for you in a short period of time. But it's not like you just threw something together just to have something to say, or just to say that I have a book.
Yeah, and I've heard the speakers that say that just throw any book out there just so you have one. And again, that's an expensive business card, and that's not wrong. It's just that I look at it as if you're going to do all that effort, it takes a fraction of additional effort to do it right.
Exactly.
And if you don't know how to do that, there are people to help you. Like, I don't know, there's this Dr. Peggy lady I know that can do that for you, right?
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to buy a house. I'm not going to go just look for a house and buy it. I'm going to hire a professional who knows how to write the contract, who knows how to negotiate for me, who can help me find the home that I'm looking for. I mean, we all need each other.
Well, the quality of your book will, to some degree, perception-wise, tell people the quality of you as a person. Now, is that fair that they're judging you based on the book? Well, maybe not. But the problem is that you presented that book as the best of you.
Exactly.
And when you gave it to them, right? Because you wrote the book.
Exactly.
And you handed out as your thoughts and your innermost, what you have to share. And so that is how they're going to judge you. Mm-hmm. And you want that to represent quality and, intelligence and articulateness and, thoughtfulness.
Yes. And the thing, too, is that you meet a lot of people when you write your book. Mm-hmm. And when they read it, you say, okay, give me some feedback. You make friends.
That's right.
And I have people that say, for some reason, they always say, I keep your book on my nightstand. I don't know. I just wrote from my heart.
It could be a coffee coaster. We don't know.
Yeah.
I always wonder what that means.
I keep it on the nightstand so they can kind of refer to it. Because the thing that I do like to write is sub-chapters.
Yeah, if you have really good stuff, people will do that.
Yeah.
They'll have highlighted pieces in there they like to go back to. Mm-hmm. And especially if you said you have quotes in there that can be like affirmations.
Exactly.
People sometimes, they have that crummy day. And before they go to bed, they can go back and just go to that favorite couple little passages and say, okay, I feel a little better. I'm going to go to sleep now.
Yeah. And then when you write, I wrote for the busy reader.
Okay.
I'm very respectful of people's time. So I say a lot in one sentence, and I put subtitles. So subchapters
breaks it up.
Breaks it up. If you don't have to read the whole book cover to cover. If you just want to read a particular point of the book, then do that, because I did that for you.
Yeah, the quality level is important. So, for example, here, for a lot of the people I know that they're in my space doing these kind of little podcast things, right? There's a ton of people out there doing them. I can do this at home on a Zoom, and I do that for people that are remote. But even when I do Zoom interviews, I still like to come into the studio. Why? The video quality is better than what I can get off of that. Sound quality is better. We're in a controlled studio. So to me, it's important to schedule the time, do the extra money, to be in a studio, to have good equipment, a professional sound engineer, videography going on that I can use on the streaming, so that it's not just a cell phone on the kitchen table sort of an idea. And I see the same thing in what you're saying with the books. If you're going to do it, just take that extra step and do it right. Make it a little bit extra. And I do it because I look at it and say, I don't want videos of me talking to people that look like it's from my cell phone on my kitchen table or in a basement somewhere. I want it to look more professional. So yeah, there's more expense to it. There's more time. There's more thoughtfulness that has to go into it.
Yes.
But I like it that way.
Yes.
Now, do I have people that don't live in the area that I do on Zoom? Yeah, every once in a while I'll have somebody that because they can't make it here, or I have a gentleman that I've scheduled to talk to in the future. I do these on Saturdays, most of the recordings, and he can't do Saturdays because of his religious beliefs. Well,
Okay.
I'll respect that. So I'll do that one on a Zoom because I can't have access to the studio at that, on a different day.
Right.
But those are the exceptions rather than the rules. But also overall, the show has a higher quality, and it's going up on streaming.
And
so I
it's-
fully respect your idea of the book should be a higher quality.
Yeah, and this studio is very professional. I mean, when you ask me to come in, I'm like, sure, because I sense that if somebody wants you to come into the studio, they want it to be professional.
Right.
And this
and the
speaks
same with your book.
volumes.
If you're going to present a book, you might as well make it professional, make it nice.
Exactly.
Okay, with that, we're going to take another break. I'm with Dr. Peggy Woods. We are talking about publishing books, self-publishing, and how to come up with books and the right way to do them. This is Steve Matley on Building Solid Foundations. We'll be right back after this short break.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations radio talk show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental properties, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about. So join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio.
Are you a real estate investor looking for a new opportunity in one of the top tourist destinations in the world? Look no further. Welcome to Punta Cana. Perla Bahia is a private resort-style community in Punta Cana that consists of modern condos, custom villas, and various commercial amenities. So if you're interested in learning more or joining us on one of our monthly investment tours, don't hesitate to contact me today at 909-494-2280.
Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations. I'm your host, Steve Matley. We are talking to Dr. Peggy Woods today. We are discussing creating and publishing your own book. Now, Peggy, one of the books that you published is called The Image of a Woman from a Hebrew Perspective. Now, it says volume 1, so I'm assuming there's going to be more of these things.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah. It's such an intense topic. It's taken from Proverbs 31, so it's the whole chapter.
Okay.
From 1 to 32.
Okay, and so for those that don't know, in the what would be the Christian New Testament or the Hebrew Book of Psalms, right?
Oh,
Proverbs. In the Hebrew Bible. Proverbs. That's right, Proverbs. Mm-hmm. Proverbs 31 is the last proverb in there, and it is written. It's written, it seems to be from the perspective of a man who is writing about his wife and honoring her and about all the things she does, that he is just honoring, enamored with, and just thinks she's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And he's talking about the way she relates to the children, the way she runs the household. She has real estate holdings. She's doing all these kind of things that she's doing out there. For those that think that traditional Judeo-Christian Bible is in any way repressive to women, or puts them down, or their job is to be domestic servants, Proverbs 31 kind of paints a very different picture of that. She is a business person negotiating major real estate transactions and profitability. She is managing her household, but she runs it like a well-oiled machine. She is not just raising her kids, she's investing in the next generation. She is fully supporting all of her husband's enterprises as they build their world together. It's very much the man saying she is very much on par, if not my superior in this endeavor. Yes.
Yes. So let me let me just go back to the first part of Proverbs 31. Verses 1 through 9 is a mother chastising her son.
That's right.
The king, Lemuel. And she's saying, Lemuel, oh Lemuel, son of my womb, son of my vows. I'm paraphrasing here. I don't think so. This is not the kind of woman that I raised you to be with. Mm-hmm. And you shouldn't be out drinking because you're a king. How are you going to make fair judgment for your people if you're not in total consciousness, right?
That's
so
right.
You're drunk. So
his behavior and his choice of mates.
Yeah, so apparently King Lemuel was, I'm going to say, acting up. Mm-hmm. He was with the wrong women. Maybe he was out drinking. And a lot of people don't get that part because it says, Lemuel, son of my womb, son of my vow. Explanation point. Okay? That means she's not just saying it, she's kind of like shouting it, so it's with the attitude, and that's where punctuation comes into to play. So she's saying, okay, let me tell you what kind of woman you should have. And so King Lemuel is telling the story of what his mother told him.
Okay.
And you're absolutely right. She cooks, she cleans, has her own business, she takes care of the family. I mean, she's superwoman. And when you read it, you might want to really just read it all the way through. And in your own context, when you look at it, just think about, wow, what's she doing? And so she's doing all of this stuff, right?
She's definitely not an uneducated, barefoot, stay pregnant, and
she's
not that kind of woman.
She is not. She is definitely, she's a woman of valor, and I'm going to go into that. But the reason I wrote this, and it's more of a speech than a book. Mm-hmm. I just put it into a book because the concepts, so you'll understand the concepts better. But there was a woman at my job named Lynette. Lynette had a boyfriend, and she was so excited when she came to work. She thought this was the guy for her, right? And so we were all excited for her. But within a couple of weeks, she came to work depressed. And we're like, what's going on? 2 weeks she's depressed. I mean, I could see one, So she tells us, well, there's one problem with the guy that I really fell in love with. And we're like, what? He's married.
Well, I think that's a pretty big red flag.
Yeah. And he wasn't living with his wife, but he was not talking about divorcing his wife either.
Okay.
So I'm thinking everything you want to know is in the Bible. Why do women and men go from relationship to relationship and still not finding what they want? It's got to be in the Bible. It's got to be. Everything's in the Bible. And so the Holy Spirit led me to Proverbs 31. But when I read it, I didn't understand how that had to do with what that had to do with going from one relationship to another. What is that? I mean, she's the ideal woman. What does she need to do? So I began to read it again, and the word, it starts with the virtuous woman who can find one, because she's rarer than rubies.
Yeah, it does say that as if, the ideal woman is impossible to get. is kind of what it says.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But when we look at the word virtuous in English, it means upstanding, ethical. It means chaste. It means a virgin. It's these good qualities. But when we look at it in the original Hebrew text, the word virtuous means strong, mighty, powerful, capable. And so we get a different connotation. There's nothing wrong with upright, upstanding, and ethical. But this verse, this Proverbs, is God's idea of woman. It's who he made her to be. It's not what she does, it's who she is. Mm-hmm. And so virtuous is actually a non-gender word. So you're virtuous, Steve, and I'm virtuous. We're both virtuous. But in today's society, in English, we made it out to be a woman word. It's only for women. And, you got to be virtuous. You got to be upright and upstanding. But no.
Yeah, we would
really
use the
not.
word like we'd say a virtuous woman, and then we would say a man of integrity or something like that. We would use different words.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. So a virtuous means a valor. Mm-hmm. So a woman of valor, a man of valor. Mm-hmm. And Ashahael is who she is, the virtuous woman. And Ashahael is interpreted as a woman warrior. So if you spoke Hebrew or if you were from the Middle East, you would know who she was or who she is. And also in the Hebrew culture and the Jewish, they honor women every Friday night, going into the Sabbath, which is, today is the Sabbath, Shabbat Shalom. Okay. And so every Friday night, they honor her, they sing to her, they, glorify her for being a woman, for bringing birth, for birthing their children, for being the influencer of a culture. Who raises the women? Basically, the woman teaches the children. I mean, we teach the children, and so the man, he honors her in the Hebrew culture for who she is, and we sometimes miss the mark in that. But the beauty is how we work together as man and woman. So if if you're the protector, then I am the nurturer in the household. And so it's just a whole different meaning also. In one of the scriptures, it talks about she burns her lamp all night and she gets up early in the morning and she prepares food for herself and her maidservants, for her family. And I could only see this woman slaving over a stove after being up all night. But the word the word food in Hebrew, and I teach from an ancient Hebrew perspective. So the word food means terap, which means to tear apart, to render, to bite into small pieces. And so in Hebrew, there's pictures, connotations, there's words, and there's alphabets, or it's called alphabet. So the connotation for that word terap, which is food, is a female lioness going out to hunt, catching the prey, tearing it apart, eating her portion, and bringing the rest back to the pride, while the lion is protecting the pride. So he's not just not working, he's protecting, because when they both go away, if they both leave, they will come home to no cubs. Right. There will be other lions that will prey on the cubs. So we both have our roles in society, and so this teaching never ceases to amaze me of how people react to it. The women are empowered. I've had a woman say, I'm not going to live with him no more. He's going to marry me, And I've had guys say, wow, the younger guys want to know how to find a wonderful woman. Yep. And this teaches them that.
Well, and as it starts off with, as was true then is true now, the virtuous woman, who can find one? They're rare. And I, there's a lot of emphasis about, can you find Mr. Right? Well, I always told, to my daughters, okay, yes, you got to kiss a lot of frogs to find the prince, but only the princess can turn the frog into the prince. It's a two-way deal.
There you go. There you go.
We're going to take another break. We're going to come back and wrap this up with Dr. Peggy Woods. She is a self-publishing expert helping people to write and publish their books. If you want to contact her, she's at www.publish-rightnow.com. Right now, W-R-I-T-E. Publish-rightnow.com if you want to get a hold of her. We'll be right back after this short break.
FireUp Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. FireUp Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Hi, this is Jim McLaughlin with Effective Action Consulting, and I've been a member of FireUp Connect for, probably 3 years now. And what I really like about FireUp Connect is the unique model that we go through, that we follow, the agenda, so to speak, in the meeting that really has us get engaged and involved with each other in the meetings. It's not that we're individuals, it's that we're all really working together to better ourselves, our businesses, and the community through the projects that we work on. So I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to network with people in this environment, and it's really impacted my business in a big way. So take a look.
Building Solid Foundations Radio.
Are you a real estate investor looking for a new opportunity in one of the top tourist destinations in the world? Look no further. Welcome to Punta Cana. Perla Bahia is a private resort-style community in Punta Cana that consists of modern condos, custom villas, and various commercial amenities. So if you're interested in learning more or joining us on one of our monthly investment tours, don't hesitate to contact me today at 909-494-2280.
Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations. I'm your host, Steve Matley. Today we are talking to Dr. Peggy Woods. She is with Right Now Publishing Company. If you want to connect with her, www.publish-rightnow.com. Right Now is W-R-I-T-E. Publish-rightnow.com or 323-929-2883, 323-929-2883 if you want to connect with Dr. Peggy Woods and talk with her about anything that she has going on, any of her books, if you need any of her services, if you need help talk about how to put a book together. Now, before the break, we were talking about her her book that was based upon Proverbs 31, and she actually conducts women's empowerment conferences based on Proverbs 31. So let's talk about that, Peggy. What are these empowerment conferences? When are they? Where are they? And how would someone access them?
Okay, so you can contact me. I have those virtually. I'll do Zoom calls, and I do a lot of PowerPoints because you really need to see the concepts when I break down the Hebrew meaning of certain words. So I do those over Zoom, and I also will do have conferences for a couple of hours, whatever you will allow, for your organization, for women's organization, for Christian organizations. And even though this topic is from a book, from the Bible, the Bible is the most widely read book in the world. Everybody reads the Bible. It
Despite
doesn't
the
matter.
fact that it's banned in our schools, it's still the most widely read book in the world, isn't it?
Yes, yes, and all faiths read the Bible. So this is just to empower women, all women, and to help women and men to be more cohesive. So by knowing, understanding our roles. So I have those in person and also online women's empowerment conferences. I have one coming up in February, and if you would like more information, you can contact me at the 323-929-2883 for more information.
Okay, great. And again, all based on Proverbs 31. And I'll say that hopefully from the last segment conversation, people understand that even if they're not Hebrew, if they're not Christian, if they're not Bible believers, the Proverbs 31 is an outline that describes really what it's the exact woman that all the non-religious people keep claiming they want women to be. Isn't it? Is it not?
Yes.
It is the ultimate. It really is. And so the precepts are all there. So you don't have to if you're not comfortable in a church type setting, you probably still get a lot out of a conference that's based upon that wisdom.
Yes.
And I would, of course, for anybody out there, if you've not read the Bible, you're not a believer in it or whatever, and you're curious about it, just Google Proverbs 31. You can read through it, and you'll see what it says. And what you'll probably read is a description of what most men would think would be the perfect woman that they could find and marry if they could find one, and what most women would like to become. That's what I would summarize it.
Yes, and make sure you also read the Hebrew translations of a lot of words, Get the Strong's Concordance, because it's very, very different.
Yeah, yes. And actually you can even read through things. If you see words that you don't really understand, you can actually just Google translations.
Definitely,
Or what is the root of, what is the meaning of.
Yes.
And you can find those really easily. We live in a world with just an embarrassment of riches when it comes to knowledge and education. It's just right there. There is more information on our smartphone than used to be in university libraries.
For sure. We used to have to go to the library
I remember card catalogs.
information.
I'm that old. I remember the periodical guide to literature. Young generation doesn't understand any of that stuff.
No.
I remember in one of my college degree programs, I had to drive to another town to a different university than where I went, because that was a university that had a federal depository. Not all university libraries had a depository.
Right.
So the federal depository means it had U.S. Census Bureau, Bureau of Labor Statistics, congressional records, had all that kind of stuff in there. It was on the top floor of this particular university. And there's only like one or two universities in an area that would have that. So you'd have to go there to find that information. Yeah. Now it's, of course, such a thing.
It's everywhere. I mean, my grandchildren, I showed them our old dictionary from 1951, and literally it was like lifting weights. It was probably
Huge,
12 inches tall.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, "What is that?"
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, a lot of the words we use every day today aren't even in there.
No, they change. But the other thing about it is there's so many meanings to one word.
Yes.
And we tend to think it's only one meaning. And my little granddaughter, she was like, "Whoa, wow, what is all of that for?"
All the different ways that word can be used. But I think of all the words that have come out of technology that we never used before.
Yes.
And so now those would all be in
the
a
newer
dictionary, newer versions of a dictionary, and they're just part of our vernacular every single day.
Exactly.
Other words have changed meanings.
Yeah.
There's other words that we used to use that don't mean the same thing anymore.
Well,
changed.
the word virtuous was changed in the 1500s. Yeah. It was changed from brave to upright, upstanding, and ethical. So we change words, and we talk about taking God off money, taking God out of politics in the school. We've taken them out of words.
Yes.
Yeah, virtuous and enthusiasm. Enthusiasm used to mean the God within us, the inspiration. Yeah. And so words change too.
Yes. Yeah, well, and of course, languages are always evolving.
Yes.
And so they always will as cultures evolve. The spelling changes, and we don't, the same words we use in English, other English-speaking nations spell them differently, pronounce them differently, and sometimes have slightly different meanings.
Like in the UK, where you just came from.
Yes, we were just there. And I also learned there's a lot of things I learned being over in the UK that some of them were very interesting, and some shattered my illusions of what I should have found there. There's the just because honestly, it's easier to find fried chicken and pizza in London than it is to find shepherd's pie.
Oh my goodness.
So, little things like that. You're like, oh, okay, well, things, but why? Because the city evolves and changes.
Yes.
Cultures evolve and change. It's just the way it is.
Exactly.
So we're going to kind of wrap this up for today. I want to thank Dr. Peggy Woods for being my guest today. If you have any ideas that you want as far as a book goes, if you have something you want to put on paper, if you think that a book is a good part of your business or personal branding or something, it's a message you think is important to get out there, the Right Now Publishing Company is a good way to go to get help. They can help you think through it. They can write it for you. They can help you publish it. They can walk through cover designs, formatting, anything you need. So 323-929-2883 or publish-rightnow.com, right now, WRITE, rightnow.com, or contact her about those women empowerment conferences coming up. There's one coming up in February, 323-929-2883, if you're interested in learning about that. Thank you, Dr. Peggy Woods, for being on Building Solid Foundations today. I am Steve Matley. Don't forget to catch us every single week, and until next week, go do something different this week.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at kcaaradio.com.